What's up, YouTube? I've got a little bit of a different submission, I think, for this video off to Wata for some games to get graded. I've got a bunch of CGC and VGA games that I'm thinking about crossing over to Wata just to keep the collection consistent. But I think what I'm going to do for this video is do a little experiment. I think I'm going to send some of my games still encased and see what kind of grades they cross over to from Wata. And I think a few of them I'm going to crack open and you'll see the grades beforehand and we'll see what they come back to from Wata and kind of learn a little bit of information on how Wata grades and how it compares to CGC and VGA. So let me show you some of those games and we'll get started. First up, I got Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PlayStation. This one's graded VGA 85 plus, which from my understanding is a pretty high grade. I would expect this to get a 9.6 or a 9.8 from Wata. This is the greatest hits version. I highly doubt I'll ever come across the Black Label version, and it's just way too expensive to try to buy one, so I think I'm going to have to settle for this one, but luckily this is a pretty nice copy. For this one, I think I'm going to submit it still in the VGA holder, because like I said, from what I know, 85 plus should translate pretty high from Wata. I'm hoping for a 9.8. To be quite honest, I'd probably be a little disappointed if it got a 9.6 or below. But we'll keep this one in the case, send it to Wata, see what they send it back as. Next up, I've got a copy of Halo 2 on the original Xbox. This one's VGA 85. The thing that's weird about VGA is, from what I know, the 85 plus is a rating that came out later. There wasn't always an 85 plus. So there's a chance this could be an 85 plus if it was graded today by VGA. But I think my plan for this one is I'm going to crack it open and send it to Wata. So we'll have the Castlevania being sent in the holder still at 85 plus, but we'll have this Halo 2 being sent as an 85, but we'll obviously crack it open before we do it. And we'll see what it comes back as. This is just a regular Black Label copy of Halo 2. It's not the do not sell before, but I still really like it, and I think it should translate pretty well to Wata. So we'll see how the 85 translates when we get this back. Next up, I got a copy of Wind Waker on the GameCube. This one's a CGC graded copy, 9.2 A++. I've looked at the game and I don't really see too much damage on it. I think there's a little bit of an indentation on the back cover that maybe damaged the artwork. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of hard to tell. But I think what I'm going to do for this copy is I'm going to crack it open and see what Wata thinks of it and see what kind of grade I can get. It's only a player's choice version of Wind Waker, so not too exciting, but I'm hoping I could maybe upgrade the grade on this one with Wata, so we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll crack this one open and hope for the best. Next up, got a copy of Resident Evil Outbreak on PlayStation 2. This one's a 9.6 A+ from CGC. I think for this one, I will send it into Wata, still in the holder. From what I've heard, it should probably come back the same grade, but like I said, it's kind of an experiment, so we'll see kind of how Wata assesses this game when they open it up. You might have seen in my previous video I had a 9.8 A+ Outbreak file number 2, so this one will go along with it well. I'd love to see it upgrade to a 9.8, but regardless, I think 9.6 A+ I'd be happy with. And if I can maintain that with Wata, I'll be happy. Yeah, Gabe. So yeah, guys, I'll get these games sent out to Wata. There's a few other games in the submission that I'm not crossing over, that are just one reholder and a couple new submissions that I'll show you too when I get this back from Wata. So I'm kind of excited to see how this all pans out, and hopefully we get some good grades, maybe some upgrades. Yeah, stay tuned. All right, so I finally got the submission back from some of the crossover games that I submitted, as well as some other games that I sent into Wata recently as well. This submission took quite some time to get back this time. I was a little surprised by that, even at the lowest submission tier. Usually I get some of these games back a lot quicker, but first I'll go over the games I crossed over, and we'll see how things stacked up versus how they were graded before. So this was the Symphony of the Night that was VGA graded 85 plus. This one I pretty much knew from the research I've done and the way I know VGA grades, I knew this would come back pretty high from Wata. So I'm definitely happy with the 9.8 A plus on this. This is not a game I expect to get the Black Label version of sealed, but I'm really happy to have a really nice greatest hits version of this one in the collection. So this will do nicely for now. This was an interesting one. Halo 2, it was VGA graded 85. This one I cracked out of the case before I sent it into Wata, so they didn't know what VGA graded it. But this one came back 9.0A, which I'm very disappointed in. I would have much rather just kept the 85 VGA than this 9.0A from Wata. The other thing that was interesting was on the back notes, Wata says that there is a cut in the case top, which I did not see when I took it out of the VGA holder. I still can't see it through the case now, so I'm not sure what they're referring to with this one. And was it a situation where VGA either didn't notice it at the time when they graded it, or was it something that happened when I took it out of the case? I'm not sure. I can't imagine I could have cut the case when I was removing it from the VGA holder, but yeah, this one definitely disappointed with the 9.0A. Would have much rather had the 85 from VGA and not cracked this one. I forgot to mention with the Symphony of the Night, that one I did send with it still in the holder with the 85 plus. So Wata saw the grade VGA gave it before they graded it themselves. So this one's another success. This was the 9.6 A plus from CGC Resident Evil Outbreak on PS2. This one I kept in the CGC holder as well when I sent it, so Wata saw the 9.6 A plus grade that CGC had given it, and they upped it to 9.8 A plus. In the little bit of experience and research I've had doing this, it seems like CGC grades do end up coming back a little higher from Wata when you cross over, and this kind of lends some credence to that, to go from a 9.6 to a 9.8 A plus. This one again, I'm trying to get almost all the PS1, PS2, GameCube era Resident Evil games. I mean 9.8 A plus. This will go nicely with the file number 2 from one of my previous videos that was 9.8 A plus. So I'm really happy about this. So here is the Wind Waker on GameCube, the player's choice copy that I had sent in with the submission. This one I had cracked out of the CGC holder. It was a 9.2 A++ from CGC. Wata came back and said this was a reseal and not a legitimate seal on this game. So this one was definitely a bust. I mean, if it is not legit, I mean, I'm glad I know now. But if it was legit, I'd much rather have kept the 9.2 A++ from CGC. This one is interesting. At the time when I cracked it open, I did not notice anything too crazy with it, but looking at it now and hearing what Wata said about it, I can kind of tell the seal might not be legit. It doesn't feel like other sealed GameCube games that I've handled. It almost has like a cellophane kind of cheap feeling seal to it, so I think they might be right that it was a reseal, but it's definitely interesting that CGC did not note that. I mean, they graded it 9.2 A++, so CGC definitely missed the mark on this if this is a reseal, and Wata did catch it, so I do have to give them credit for that. But it makes you wonder what's going on over there at CGC for them to be grading resealed games, according to Wata anyways. Real quick, I did also submit a reholder on my 9.8 A plus copy of Resident Evil 4. I don't think I've shown this in a video, but I had this in an old Wata holder, and since it's going in my personal collection, I'd like it in one of the new holders because I just like the way they look better. But yeah, I'm happy to have upgraded the holder on this one, and this is one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. I played the hell out of this game when it came out on the GameCube. To me, that's the platform that Resident Evil 4 belongs on. That's the platform it started on, the GameCube. It was exclusive for a time on the GameCube, and this game just means so much to me. and a 9.8 A+ black label. I love it. So next we'll get into some of the games that I sent with this submission that weren't crossovers. They were just games that I had graded along with the crossovers that we covered before. Here we've got Metal Gear Acid 2 on PSP. Um, yeah, just trying to build out the Metal Gear collection. This one came back 9.8 A+. Really happy with it. This one looked completely mint. It looked perfect. I was even hoping maybe to get an A++ on this one. I didn't see anything wrong with it whatsoever. But you can't really complain about a 9.8 A+. And plus it'll go nicely with I've got the original Metal Gear Acid and 9.8 A+ as well on PSP that I think I covered in a different video. So nice to add this to the Metal Gear Solid collection for sure. Sticking on the Metal Gear theme, we've got Metal Gear Solid 1 on PS1. This one graded 9.8A. I picked up a lot of sealed greatest hits copies of Metal Gear Solid on PS1, and this one was the nicest one, so I sent this one in to get graded. The A seal rating's a little disappointed. I don't think I saw anything wrong with the seal. If there was, maybe there was just a small poke on one of the corners, but I've gotten A pluses on this level of seal before. So an A is a little disappointed, but 9.8 I can't complain about. I do hope to get a black label copy of this at some point because I do know it's not as uncommon as many people think it is in black label sealed. But for the time being, to have MGS1 graded, sealed, the greatest hits copy will do nicely. And 9.8A, it's not too bad of a grade. I'm happy with it. Last game of the submission, we've got Metal Gear Solid VR missions on PS1. This one came back 9.8A. I definitely thought this one was going to come back A plus as well on the seal, like the greatest hits Metal Gear Solid did. But yeah, this one came back in A as well. I don't know if there was a poke on one of the corners on the seal, but I thought for sure this would be an A plus. But I can't complain too much. 9.8A is definitely great. Happy with it to add to the personal collection. And the Metal Gear Solid collection's coming out pretty nice right now. The only thing really left would be to upgrade my MGS2, which I think I have a 9.4A. I'd like to get a 9.6 or a 9.8 if I could someday. So I'll keep an eye out for looking to upgrade that. But yeah, the Metal Gear collection is coming along nicely, and I'm happy with a lot of the grades I got with this submission. All right, guys, so that was my little experiment with doing some crossover grading with CGC, VGA over to Wata. What did we learn? Well, we learned that maybe submitting within the holder is not a bad idea. The Symphony of the Night I submitted in the holder with the VGA grade 85 plus came back 9.8 A plus. The Outbreak, Resident Evil Outbreak, I submitted in the CGC holder 9.6 A plus, and it came back 9.8 A plus. The two games I took out of the holders did not fare as well. The Wind Waker, that came back as not even a legit seal, so I don't know, again, why CGC determined it was legit. I think I do agree with Wata after hearing what they said that it probably is not legit. It does not feel right. The edge of the seal on the side where the case opens feels very like flimsy. Like you could almost just like pull it right off. It doesn't feel as tight as other GameCube seals that I've handled before. So I think I do side with Wata that that's not a real seal on the Wind Waker, and it really discourages me with CGC that they graded it 9.2 A plus and said it was legit. So that was a big miss by CGC if in fact it is a resealed Wind Waker. And then for the Halo 2, similar, some weird things with that too. VGA graded it 85. I took it out of the holder, sent it into Wata. I did not see anything wrong with it. I actually had really high hopes for the grade on it. But Wata says there's a cut in the top of the case, and I do not see it when I'm looking through the Wata holder, and I did not see it before when I sent it in. So I'm not sure, if something happened in the way it was handled or in transit or me taking it out of the VGA holder. That did I do something to the case? Did I damage it? I don't think I did, but who knows? That one came back 9.0A, which I'm extremely disappointed with because I'm trying to add to my Halo personal collection, and 9.0A on a black label Halo 2 copy, I'm not happy with that. So that was disappointing. Um, One of the things that I also had heard about and the limited research I did was that when you cross from CGC to Wata, you can bump some grades up. So that seemed to hold as far as the Resident Evil Outbreak. It went from a 9.68 plus to a 9.88 plus. So in the future, I think I might do some more of that and see how that lands, and I'll film that and let you guys know how that goes. But the other games I submitted, the Metal Gear games, definitely happy with all of those. Those are probably going to go right into the personal collection. The MGS one, it'll be a placeholder for now until I can try to find a black label copy or just bite the bullet and buy one already graded because I know they're out there. I know you can get a hold of them. So yeah, happy with the submission. Hopefully you guys learned something from from some of the numbers before and after from crossing over to CGC and VGA over to WADA. So yeah, I might do some more videos like this in the future. Let me know if you guys found this information useful. If you might be interested in seeing some more crossover stuff going on and seeing how some of the numbers shake out with that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll have a new video up for you at some point in the future.